What if heaven is not withholding resources from you, but waiting for you to stand in the right place? What if provision is not about how much faith you have, but how aligned you are? Tonight you will discover why some prayers struggle to get funded, while others seem to open doors effortlessly, and why alignment, not effort, is the missing code you have been searching for. There is a mystery that troubles many sincere people. Why does God bless certain efforts abundantly, while other equally passionate attempts remain dry and resisted? You pray, you labor, you sacrifice, yet progress feels delayed. Meanwhile, someone else moves with unusual ease. Doors open, resources arrive, helpers appear, and momentum follows them like a shadow. This is not favoritism. This is not chance. This is alignment. God is not short of resources. Heaven is not in recession. The issue is not whether God can fund your vision. The question is whether your vision matches your divine assignment. God funds purpose, not preference. He backs obedience, not ambition. He releases provision where his intention is being carried out on earth. Many people ask God to bless what they decided instead of discovering what God already blessed. And when you move outside your assignment, even prayer becomes difficult, effort becomes exhausting, and progress becomes fragile. But when you align with your assignment, help shows up uninvited, strength renews itself, and provision begins to chase you instead of you chasing it. Stay with this message until the end, because what you are about to hear is not motivational, it is revelatory. If you grasp this alignment code, it will explain past delays, correct present confusion, and unlock future provision. Many people confuse inspiration with assignment, and because of that confusion, they step into ideas that excite them but do not sustain them. An idea can be brilliant, creative, and even helpful, yet still lack divine backing. An assignment is different. An assignment originates in God's intention, not human enthusiasm. When God assigns something, he binds himself to it. He becomes responsible for its continuity, its supply, and its outcome. This is why understanding the difference between a God-given assignment and a self-generated idea is critical to spiritual progress. An idea begins with what you want to do. An assignment begins with what you are sent to do. Ideas often arise from talent, exposure, comparison, or pressure. Assignments arise from calling, obedience, and burden. When you pursue an idea without assignment, you carry the full weight of its success alone. You must force doors open, persuade people to help, and strain to keep momentum alive. But when you walk in assignment, support emerges naturally because heaven has already authorized the work. God never funds enthusiasm, he funds obedience. Passion alone does not qualify something for provision. Many people are passionate about things God never asked them to pursue. Passion without assignment can burn you out, because fire without direction consumes instead of builds. Assignment channels passion into purpose, and purpose attracts provision. God does not expect you to pay for what he commanded. He does not require you to maintain what he initiated. Where there is divine instruction, there is divine assumption of responsibility. This is why some efforts feel constantly heavy. Every step requires extra strength. Every breakthrough feels temporary. Every victory demands recovery. The issue is not laziness or lack of faith. The issue is authorization. Heaven does not empower what it did not originate. You can pray sincerely over an unauthorized pursuit and still experience resistance, because prayer cannot override divine order. God will not empower what distracts you from your true assignment. even if it looks successful on the surface. An assignment carries clarity. Even when it is difficult, it does not confuse you. Even when it stretches you, it aligns you. There is an inner witness that confirms, "This is why I am here." Ideas fluctuate with mood, season, and opinion. Assignment remains steady even when circumstances shift. That steadiness is what qualifies it for funding. God invests where continuity is guaranteed, not where instability reigns. Many people ask God to bless what they decided instead of discovering what God already blessed. They build plans and then invite God to endorse them. But divine order works in reverse. God reveals his intention and human effort aligns with it. Blessing follows alignment, not initiation. This is why waiting on God feels slow but saves time. Rushing ahead feels productive but creates long-term strain. Assignment also defines scope. When God assigns, he specifies measure. He does not call you to do everything. He calls you to do something precisely. Ideas often overreach because ego expands vision beyond grace. Assignment protects you from excess because God never assigns what he does not equip. Funding flows where scope and grace are matched. Overextension is often a sign of self-direction, not divine instruction. When you step into assignment, provision may not arrive instantly, but it arrives consistently. God funds progressively, not prematurely. He releases resources in proportion to obedience, not ambition. Ideas demand lump sum miracles. Assignments grow through daily supply. One creates anxiety, the other builds trust. One drains strength, the other renews it. Understanding this distinction reshapes how you evaluate opportunities. Instead of asking, "Can I do this?" you begin to ask, "Was I sent to do this?" Instead of asking, "Will this succeed?" you ask, "Does this align?" Because success without assignment still costs too much, while assignment without visible success still carries peace. Provision is not a prize for effort. It is a response to alignment. Many people believe that if they work hard enough, sacrifice enough, or pray long enough, supply will automatically follow. They labor with intensity, strategize endlessly, and worry about outcomes as if effort alone could bend heaven. But the truth is that provision does not need to be chased. It is attracted by alignment. When what you are doing matches what you were sent to do, resources begin to move toward you naturally, almost magnetically. The universe is structured in such a way that obedience to assignment creates a gravitational pull of support that effort alone cannot generate. Striving often exposes misalignment. When you are working hard but seeing little return, it may be a symptom that your energy is being spent in the wrong direction. You may be pushing, pulling, and forcing doors open, yet encountering resistance at every turn. This is because heaven cannot back what it did not authorize. Effort without alignment often results in exhaustion, disappointment, and frustration. People may look successful externally, but internally they feel drained, confused, and anxious. Energy diminishes when the current of provision is not flowing in your direction, and you are left trying to power something that is not meant to be powered by human effort alone. Alignment, however, transforms the nature of work entirely. When your actions coincide with your divine assignment, work is still necessary, but it does not carry the same weight of strain. You find yourself moving with unexpected efficiency. Doors open without conflict. People appear at just the right moment. Solutions present themselves before problems fully materialize. Opportunities arrive that you never solicited. The difference between effort in alignment and effort out of alignment is like the difference between rowing against a strong current and floating with the river that carries you toward your destination. The current is not your effort alone. It is the natural response of the system you are moving within. Many fail to understand why alignment is so critical. It is because God operates through order, not chaos. Provision follows purpose, not desire. When you are aligned, your intentions are in harmony with divine intention. Your work resonates with the plan that heaven already set in motion, and as a result, resources are not something you have to chase. They are drawn to you. Just as the sun's rays warm the earth naturally without effort from the soil, support flows to assignments that are positioned correctly. Misalignment, by contrast, creates friction. The same effort produces little or no return. The harder you push, the more resistance you encounter. The principle of attraction through alignment also applies to relationships, opportunities, and influence. When you are in your assignment, the right people show up at the right time. The right doors swing open, and the right circumstances emerge. Conversely, when you operate outside your assignment, relationships become strained, opportunities feel blocked, and doors remain stubbornly closed. It is not a question of merit or morality, it is simply a matter of positioning. Provision is relational. It follows the design of the assignment, not the intensity of your effort. This understanding changes how we approach work, ministry, and personal goals. Instead of obsessively pushing for results or desperately chasing resources, the focus shifts to discernment and alignment. You start to ask, am I in the place I was sent to be, rather than, how can I make this work? You begin to prioritize obedience over ambition and calling over desire. Effort becomes meaningful because it is channeled in the direction that naturally produces outcomes, and energy is no longer wasted on what cannot be sustained by heaven's provision. Alignment also produces a type of confidence and peace that effort alone cannot generate. When you know you are where you belong, your labor carries a sense of purpose that lightens the burden of work. Struggle is still present, but it does not become destructive or paralyzing. Instead, it becomes part of a process that produces results with integrity. In alignment, provision is not merely a reward, it is a natural accompaniment of obedience. The universe, heaven, and circumstances themselves begin to work on your behalf, and you experience the profound truth that when you are aligned with your assignment, support seeks you out rather than you chasing it. When you are misaligned with your assignment, every area of your life feels heavy, confused, and inconsistent. Prayer loses its clarity, faith wavers, and decision-making becomes a maze of uncertainty. This is not a reflection of your devotion or your sincerity, but a natural response to operating outside the framework that heaven has established. Spiritual misalignment generates a type of noise that clouds understanding and drains energy. It is why some people feel spiritually exhausted despite their diligence and commitment. They may pray fervently, read scripture, fast, and serve, yet the answers they seek feel distant or delayed. Misalignment creates friction between your intentions and divine orchestration, and this friction can make even the most faithful believer feel ineffective. Clarity is a hallmark of alignment. When you are operating within your God-given assignment, your path has a distinct rhythm. Even challenges are easier to navigate because they are part of a plan that God has authorized. Prayer becomes sharper because you are not asking God to bless a personal preference, but seeking His support in what He has already sanctioned. Your faith functions with precision rather than uncertainty. You know where to step, how to act, and when to wait. Misalignment, in contrast, is confusing because it introduces conflicting signals. Your heart may desire one outcome, your mind another, and the spirit is silent or delayed in response. This confusion results in inconsistent prayer life, scattered attention, and a constant sense of being off course. Misalignment is often hidden under the guise of hard work and good intentions. People can pour themselves into projects, relationships, or ministries with all their energy, believing they are fulfilling a purpose. But without divine alignment, the results are minimal or unsustainable. Every effort requires extra energy. Every step encounters resistance, and every breakthrough is fleeting. People often interpret this as lack of blessing, yet it is more accurately a sign of misalignment. Heaven does not withhold provision arbitrarily. It is not that God is absent or indifferent. It is that the assignment is not yet recognized, and thus support cannot be fully released. One of the reasons misalignment is so draining is that it causes you to pursue multiple directions simultaneously. You chase advice from various sources, attempt to fulfill every perceived obligation, and respond to every opportunity that appears attractive or promising. The result is dispersion of focus and exhaustion of spirit. Instead of moving steadily toward a single goal, energy is spread thin across competing priorities. Progress is slow, frustration grows, and momentum is lost. Misalignment always dilutes effort because it operates outside the natural flow of divine order. You can accomplish tasks, but accomplishing them feels heavier than necessary, and the reward is rarely commensurate with the effort. Alignment, on the other hand, simplifies life in ways that are immediately noticeable. When you are in the correct place, decision-making becomes more straightforward. The right opportunities are obvious, the right relationships are apparent, and the right timing is unmistakable. You no longer have to overthink, manipulate circumstances, or plead for results. There is a natural confirmation that the path you are on is sanctioned. Even in the midst of challenge, there is an internal peace that accompanies aligned action, and the clarity you gain protects you from wasted effort and unnecessary stress. Alignment brings a sense of direction that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results, because your work is carried out in harmony with divine intention. Misalignment also affects prayer in ways that are subtle but profound. Prayers can feel repetitive, answers can seem delayed, and faith can feel inconsistent. When you pray outside your assignment, you may be asking for provision for something God never intended to fund, and that produces spiritual fatigue. In contrast, alignment brings precision to prayer. You are no longer negotiating with God to fund your desires. Instead, you are partnering with Him to fulfill a purpose He has already established. This clarity energizes your faith, strengthens your resolve, and allows your spiritual efforts to yield results that are tangible, sustainable, and meaningful. God's funding does not follow position, title, or popularity. It follows responsibility and faithfulness. Many people assume that recognition, influence, or public success automatically attracts provision, but this is a misconception. Heaven does not release resources based on appearances or credentials. It releases resources based on stewardship. Responds. Ability, not recognition, is the key that unlocks provision. Those who demonstrate the ability to handle what is entrusted to them are the ones whom God equips and sustains. The principle is clear. Before God releases resources, He tests the capacity to manage them. This is why some people with great potential remain stagnant, while others, perhaps less visible, experience consistent advancement and support. Provision aligns with demonstrated reliability, not ambition or desire. Stewardship begins with the small, often unseen assignments. God is meticulous about how He entrusts His work. If someone cannot manage a little, they will not be given much. This is a principle that applies universally, regardless of industry, ministry, or personal calling. Many people focus on recognition or accolades, hoping that visibility will attract divine funding. They crave applause, social validation, or prestige, believing that external acknowledgement equates to divine approval. Yet God measures capacity by faithfulness, not by popularity. The hidden, faithful execution of responsibility is what draws heaven's attention. Provision is given where trustworthiness is demonstrated consistently, and this is often tested in areas where no one is watching. Faithfulness in responsibility also requires integrity. God does not fund endeavors tainted by compromise or self-interest. Even if an idea seems good or a vision seems promising, if it is carried out with improper motives or half-hearted dedication, it does not attract divine provision. Integrity ensures that resources are used as intended and produces a cycle of trust between heaven and the steward. When God sees a person who honors the assignments they have been given, even in obscurity, He responds by releasing support for greater work. Conversely, inconsistency or negligence creates friction and delays. The same talent or effort, when mismanaged, becomes a liability rather than an asset in the eyes of heaven. Provision is often incremental and proportional to responsibility. Many people desire immediate abundance, expecting a sudden release of resources without demonstrating capability. God's way is often progressive. First, He entrusts small opportunities, and when faithfulness is proven, He releases more. This approach not only safeguards the resource, but also develops the steward's character. The journey of provision is not merely about receiving, it is about growing into the capacity to carry what is given. Responsibility and reliability create the conditions under which God can release resources sustainably rather than temporarily or sporadically. People often overlook this principle, chasing opportunities without first establishing the discipline to manage them. Mismanagement of small responsibilities often leads to delays in greater provision because God never entrusts what will be abused or wasted. The concept of funding through responsibility also applies to timing. God does not release resources prematurely, even if desire is intense or readiness seems apparent. Early release without readiness can result in loss, misdirection, or failure. By prioritizing responsibility over title, God ensures that what is given will be used effectively. Many struggle because they are focused on recognition or position as a measure of progress, not on the discipline of stewardship. They may have visibility, influence, or applause, yet lack the capacity to manage what heaven wants to release. When responsibility is embraced, provision follows naturally because the steward demonstrates that the resources will serve their intended purpose. Recognition and title are secondary. What matters most is the ability to handle what is given and to faithfully execute the assignment entrusted. Responsibility, Al. So cultivates trust, both human and divine. People are drawn to those who prove themselves reliable and capable, and heaven mirrors this principle. God's provision is not arbitrary. It follows those who honor the trust placed in them, who consistently fulfill the duties they have been given, and who manage resources with diligence and care. Those who chase status or visibility without cultivating responsibility often encounter resistance and frustration. The key to unlocking sustained provision is not in seeking recognition, but in demonstrating faithful stewardship, integrity, and diligence in the responsibilities already entrusted. This principle ensures that when resources arrive, they are not wasted, and the assignment progresses according to divine design. Delays are often misunderstood in the journey of provision. Many people interpret delays as denial, punishment, or failure, and they respond with frustration, doubt, or resignation. Yet delay is not always a negative signal. In fact, delays are frequently directional corrections from God, designed to redirect, protect, or prepare us for what is ahead. When something does not move according to your timeline, it is not necessarily a reflection of your effort, prayer, or worthiness. Often it is a divine pause, a recalibration to ensure that what you pursue aligns perfectly with your assignment. Understanding the purpose of delay transforms frustration into insight and impatience into strategic discernment. One of the key reasons delays occur is misalignment. When we attempt to force progress in areas outside our God-given assignment, resistance appears naturally. Doors remain closed, opportunities fail to materialize, and every breakthrough is fleeting. God's timing is precise, and He resists what is premature or misdirected. Delays serve as a protective measure, preventing us from investing energy, resources, ND time in projects that He did not authorize. In this way, delays are not denials but warnings, signs that a closer look at alignment is necessary before moving forward. They are designed to prevent long-term setbacks that would result from pursuing something outside the intended plan. Delays also function as a period of preparation. God often waits to release provision until the steward is ready to receive it responsibly. During this time, character is refined, faith is strengthened, and capacity is developed. Many people grow impatient because they see obstacles as failures rather than opportunities for growth. Yet this preparation is essential. It ensures that when the breakthrough finally comes, it can be sustained, managed wisely, and used to fulfill the assignment fully. Without the preparation that delay provides, even the most promising opportunity can be mishandled, resulting in wasted effort or premature closure. Divine timing is also relational and strategic. God's delays often align with the readiness of other people, circumstances, or resources necessary for the assignment. Sometimes a delay ensures that the right team, partner, or supporter is in place. Sometimes it aligns circumstances so that provision arrives at the moment of maximum impact. Delay is rarely random. It is orchestrated. Those who recognize this understand that waiting is not passive but active engagement in discernment, preparation, and alignment. By evaluating the reasons behind delays, one can identify areas where adjustment is necessary either in approach, timing, or focus. Another dimension of delay is the opportunity for introspection. It allows individuals to examine their motives, methods, and priorities. Are you pursuing the assignment with integrity and diligence, or are distractions and desires diverting your attention? Delays force introspection and alignment, prompting a deeper connection with God's purpose. This process often uncovers hidden misalignments, unresolved fears, or unresolved dependencies that would hinder provision if left uncorrected. The delay itself becomes a tool for